Good evening. This is Perrysburg City Council for February 2nd, 2021. I'm Tom Mackin, Mayor of Perrysburg. Please call the roll.
Okay, Ms. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Coleman.
Here.
Ms. Materney.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy. Here. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Here.
Mr. Weber.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand if you're able and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes of council meeting from January 19th and the special meeting from January 25th.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have the two council meeting minutes here, and I believe they have been passed along to everybody. If there is no objection to this, I am going to be making a motion to approve the minutes of the City Council meeting held on January 19th, 2021, and the special council meeting held January 25th, 2021, and move the rules as written and to dispense with the reading. Sorry. So you said passing resolutions on.
President Smith, can you separate the two so we can vote on them separately?
Would you prefer it that way?
That'd be great.
Okay. Well, if there was no second on that one, I will make a motion to move to approve the minutes of the City Council meeting held on January 19th, 2021 as written, and to dispense with the reading.
Second.
Just a reminder to council members, since we are on telephone, if you would say your name the first time, just to kind of allow people to know who you are. Roll call, please.
Okay, Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yeah.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Abstaining.
All right, and then I will make a motion to approve the special Perrysburg City Council meeting held on January 25th, 2021 minutes as written, and dispense with the reading.
Second. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Abstain.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We have no special reports, any letters, communications, and citizens' concerns. If you have something that's on the agenda, that'll be the time to raise that issue. All right, very well. I have no report, administrative reports, other than to welcome our newest member of council. We look forward to working with Mr. Weber.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Glad to be back.
City Administrator,
No report.
Finance Director,
No report tonight.
Law Director,
No report.
President of Council report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder that we did receive an email today about the public hearing on March 2nd council meeting. That will be at 6:20 p.m. That is all, Mayor. Thank you.
Committee reports, Finance and Economic Development. I'm assuming you have no report.
Oh, I'm sorry. No report. I was used to being later down the line. No report. And then there was, our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 9th at 5:30 p.m.
Very good, thank you. The Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did have a meeting on January 26th, and it was called to order at 6 p.m. And the committee members present were Deborah Bourne, Barry Van Hoosen, and Mark Weber. Also present were Bridget Cabot, Keith Andrado, and Patrick Jones, police chief. The minutes were approved without objection from the November 24th Safety Committee meeting. The Pro Phoenix Maintenance Agreement was also approved by committee to renew the annual maintenance agreement for $33,601.25. Mr. Weber did ask if this has been the cost each year, and Chief Jones stated that they capped us at 4% increases through March of next year. Vehicle disposal, Chief Jones requested approval to dispose of a 2013 Tahoe with a Kelly Blue Book value of $7,151 to up to $10,050, and a 2014 Tahoe valued between $8,000 and $11,685. Both vehicles have well over 100,000 miles on them and will be auctioned off. Mr. Van Huzen asked if the vehicles can be used elsewhere in the city, and Chief Jones said that the mechanics recommend that they get rid of the vehicles. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of disposal. Vehicle purchase. Chief Jones stated that 3 of the 2015 Tahoes the police division is currently using have more than 110,000 miles on them, and they requested permission to purchase 3 Ford Explorer hybrid police vehicles from Baumann Ford at a cost of $155,956.98. He said that the price includes the upfitting for each vehicle, which will be done by P&R, that is part of the contract with Baumann Ford. Chief Jones requested that the legislation be passed as an emergency because of the time it takes to get the vehicles in. I had asked, what is the timeline? And Chief Jones said it will probably take 14 weeks. Chief Jones said that his goal is to rotate 3 vehicles each year. Ms. Weber asked if they have been using the hybrids for a few years, and Chief Jones said that 2020 was the first year they purchased the hybrid vehicles. Committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval. Purchase and update of dispatch consoles. Chief Jones stated that the dispatch consoles were updated in 2012. He said that they are still using Windows 7, and the server also needs to be updated. The equipment can be purchased under the state bid from P&R Communications for $61,660, with $200 for shipping and $5,000 for installation, for a total project cost of $66,860. This will upgrade all dispatch consoles, including the one in the basement and the one at the fire station is not needed to be upgraded at this time. Chief Jones requested that this be passed as an emergency because there is a 6-week lead time to get the equipment. We agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the purchase. Review of Bethel Junction Road and State Route 25 development at Starbucks. Ms. Cabot stated that the Starbucks project at State Route 25 and Bethel Junction Road was approved by the Planning Commission in July of 2018, and I believe that was corrected to be December of 2018. In July of 2020, Starbucks requested a site plan amendment to close the Bethel Junction Road curb cut and push it west. The city requested that it be limited to write-in and write-out only, but the Planning Commission approved the site plan amendment as submitted. In the code, the only appeals process for this applicant if the plan is denied. The applicant submitted the traffic impact study, and nothing in the study gave the Planning Commission pause about the decision. I asked, noting that the Planning Commission approved the site plan amendment by a 3-2 vote without the law director present. Ms. Cabot reviewed some traffic data from the State Route 25 Bethel Junction Road area, and I asked why the city requested the write-in and write-out. Ms. Cabot said they felt it would be safer, but with no evidence to back it up. Ms. Bourne asked if the Planning Commission can change their decision. Ms. Cabot said not unless the applicant requests it. Ms. Sandredo said that the decision could be appealed to Common Pleas Court by those who can show they have standing. She said that in her opinion, the property across the street would not be able to establish standing. She said that there are currently no legal remedies for the Planning Commission, City Council, or there are no legal remedies for the Planning Commission, City Council, or any of the committees regarding this matter. I said that I understand it can't be changed, and that they were told by that City Council meeting that we have a remedy. Ms. Cabot said that we have remedies down the road if we see increased traffic accidents. She said there could be an opportunity in the future, put in a median to prevent left-hand turns, but we would not do that until we see evidence of a safety issue. Ms. Sandredo noted that this remedy would create write-in, write-out for properties on both sides of the street. Under other business, Firefighters Josh Amstutz, Mike Dickerson, and Fred Kyle were present to ask for additional hours in excess of the 80 hours the administration is currently giving to employees due to COVID illness or exposure. Mr. Amstutz stated that once the 80 hours are exhausted, the firefighters have to use sick time, and they only get 150 per year, 150 hours per year. Ms. Sangredo noted that they accrue that much sick leave each year, and it accumulates in a leave bank. Mr. Amstutz said he appreciated the city being proactive with cleaning, masks, PPE, and that help prevent COVID. But he asked what is being done when they get it. He said that the city received $1.7 million in CARES Act money, and other communities such as Bowling Green and Perrysburg Township are doing extraordinary things for their EMS first responders. Ms. Cabot explained the federal policy regarding COVID leave. She said that this is a bargaining issue. Ms. Warren said that she agrees we need to take care of our first responders. Mr. Van Hoosen and Mr. Weber said that this is new information to them and that they will look into it. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 7:07, and our next meeting will be February 23rd at 6 p.m. We do have 4 resolutions, and may we join any of them, or would we like them separate?
Could you do them separate, Mr. Chairman?
We sure may. I would like to introduce Resolution 3, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with its second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy, yes, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 3, 2021. A resolution authorizing renewal of an agreement with Pro Phoenix in an amount not to exceed $33,601.25 to provide maintenance and technical support for Police Division computer systems for the year beginning March 21, 2021.
I move that Resolution 3, 2021 be passed.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy, yes, Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Resolution 4, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with its second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy, yes, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 4, 2021, a resolution declaring one 2014 Chevy Tahoe and one 2013 Chevy Tahoe currently used in the police division as no longer needed for public use or unfit for public use.
I move that Resolution 4, 2020 be passed.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy, yes, Mr. Van Hoosen,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Resolution 5, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy, yes, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 5, 2021. A resolution authorizing a purchase agreement with Ballman Ford, Oregon, not to exceed $155,965.98 for the purchase of 3 2021 Ford Police Interceptor utility hybrid vehicles for the Perrysburg Police Division and declaring an emergency.
I move that Resolution 5, 2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Okay, Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
I would like to introduce Resolution 6, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with its second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 6, 2021, a resolution authorizing a purchase agreement with P&R Communication Services Incorporated for the purchase of a new and updated dispatch consoles in an amount not to exceed $66,860 and declaring an emergency.
I move that Resolution 6, 2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes the Safety Committee business.
Thank you very much. Recreation Committee?
No report, Mr. Mayor. Our next meeting is February 9th at 6:30 PM.
Thank you. Planning and zoning?
No report, Your Honor. We meet on February 10 at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you. Personnel Committee?
No report. We have talked about moving our next meeting up. I don't know if that's been approved yet, but I think we're looking at the 16th potentially, before our next city council meeting.
Works for me.
We good? Did we get a time?
I sent out an email, 5 or 5:30, whatever the committee's pleasure is.
Tim, are you able to get here by 5?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or it's before council, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we don't have any other meetings? Let's just do, do you think we need a 5:30? Or
5:30 would work.
okay, 5:30. Let's call it 5:30 on the 16th then. Nothing else?
Thank you. Public utilities?
Thank you, Mayor. I've got to get used to being moved up in front of service here, so. I do have a report here tonight. The meeting was called to order at 6:35 p.m. By Chairman Jonathan Smith. Committee members present were Jane Materney, Jonathan Smith, and Barry Van Huzen. Also present were Bridget Cabot, City Administrator, Kate Sandretto, Law Director, and Alice Gassi, Director of Public Utilities. With the approval of minutes, that was approved, no objection. Next item on the agenda was the sewer credit for 1103 Village Square. Ms. Gatti stated that the Perrysburg Medical Arts Building at 1103 Village Square had unusual high consumption in the summer of 2018. The customer was notified about the high consumption. The high consumption continued in the summer of 2019 and 2020. In 2020, a leak was found in the irrigation system and it was repaired. The property manager has requested sewer credit for all 3 years. Ms. Gatti said that she is recommending credit only for 2020 in the amount of $18,203.44. Mr. Smith asked how far back we can go. Ms. Sandretto said that nothing in the code limits it, but she would recommend only going back 1 year because you don't want to set a precedent. The committee agreed that since the customer was notified about the leak in 2018, that the city is being generous and that we don't want to set a precedent by going back more than a year. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the credit in the amount of $18,203.44. Ms. Gassi said that since it has already been paid, if approved, this amount will need to be refunded to the customer. So with that, I would like to make a motion to approve the credit of $18,203.44. Actually, let me rephrase it. I'd like to make a motion to approve the refunds of $18,203.44 for the credit on the sewer, or the refund of the sewer bill for 1103 Village Square.
I second it.
Discussion? Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
All right, moving on. We have another sewer credit for West Indiana Avenue. Ms. Gotcha requested approval of a sewer credit in the amount of $2,726.01 for the property at 429 West Indiana Avenue. She said that it is an older home and the meter is out in the yard. They had a water leak between the meter and the house. It was repaired in December and crews saw that it was draining to the yard, so no dye test was required. Community agreed to recommend approval of the credit. So again, I would like to make a motion to approve the sewer credit in the amount of $2,726.01 for the property at 429 West Indiana Avenue.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
All right, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving along in the agenda, we had a discussion on the sewer credit tabulation that we had received. Next item on the agenda was authorizing Dixon Engineering Inspection Service Agreement. Ms. Sandretto stated that as required by the Ohio EPA, we had a water tank on State Route 189 inspected. It was found that the interior and exterior need to be painted. She stated that it is a specialty field and requested approval of a contract with Dixon Engineering Inspection Service in the amount of $56,700. Ms. Cabot said that Dixon will create the bid specification, we will bid out the work, and Dixon will provide inspection services. During the construction, the committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of this agreement as an emergency measure. Turnpike access endorsement for the East River Road Water Connection Project. Ms. Sandretto stated that in order to get an easement from the Ohio Turnpike Commission regarding the East River Road Connection Project, an endorsement is needed from City Council, and that they want this done. Mr. Smith said it definitely makes sense as this project will save us roughly $700,000 a year. Ms. Materney asked if the fee is a one-time fee. Ms. Cabot said that there is a fee every 10 years. Ms. Sandretto stated that the application fee is $1,500 and then $3,000 every 10 years. Ms. Cabot stated that in order for ODOT to review our design plan, we need, actually, in order for the Ohio Turnpike Commission to review our design plan, we need this endorsement, if I'm correct in that. Mr. Van Huzen asked what the cost of the project is, and Ms. Cabot said that it is estimated at $3.5 million. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the legislation. The Fort Meigs Road multi-use path update. Ms. Cabot stated that she has been in discussion with Ms. Gotzi regarding the committee's request for a multi-use path alongside the Fort Meigs Road ditch. This request is outside the scope of the ditch design engineering. So a different firm, Bergman, will take a look and see what will fit relative to a multi-use path. Mr. Van Huzen asked if this information will be available before the budget amendment is approved. Ms. Cabot said that it should be, although there might be a need for a special committee meeting. She said that a placeholder could be in the budget amendments. Mr. Smith said that it is really important that we do this right. In other business, Mr. Smith asked how it's been going with the changes regarding the late fees and if there's been any other issues. Ms. Gossi said there have been positive remarks about the grace period and the once-a-year penalty waiver. Mr. Smith asked that letters were sent out regarding backflow devices. Ms. Cabot said that it's an EPA requirement to send the letters. She said their goal for this year is to come up with a backflow program. Mr. Smith said that he would encourage them to determine the type of device required based off the severity of the use. There would be no further business. The meeting adjourned at 7:08 p.m. And our next meeting is scheduled for February 24th at 6:30 p.m. With that, I do have a few resolutions here, so just a couple. So I will introduce these separately. I would like to introduce Resolution 7, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 7, 2021, authorizing an agreement with Dixon Engineering and Inspection Services for the coating industry for the acquisition of paint specifications and inspections for the City of Perrysburg State Route 199 elevated water tank painting project in an amount not to exceed $56,700 and declaring an emergency.
All right, I move that Resolution 7, 2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
I second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Okay, Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I would now like to introduce Resolution 8, 2021, and move the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Yes, I roll call. Roll call, my bad.
Roll call it is. Ms. Bourne?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Ms. Materney?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolution number 8, 2021. A resolution authorizing the City of Kearnsburg's Department of Public Utilities to seek a permit from the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission to cross under the turnpike for a water line connection between East River Road and the City of Toledo and declaring an emergency.
All right, I move that Resolution 8, 2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
I second.
Discussion?
Yes, I have discussion. I just wanted to say that I'm going to vote no until I get more information to make my decision.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Ms. Bourne?
No.
And Ms. Materney?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, there be no further items under the agenda item. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Now go to the service, the new safety service.
Service.
There you go.
Instead of having to go first and not work, getting it over with, want to stressful through the council. Okay, the meeting was called to order at, thank you, Ms. Sandra, for that.
No
The
problem.
meeting was called to order at 5:34 PM by Chairperson Jan Attorney. Committee members present were Corey Coleman, Jan Attorney, and Jonathan Smith. Also present were Bridget Cabot, City Administrator, and Kate Sandretto, Law Director. The minutes were approved from December 10th, 2020. Formworks sidewalk. Ms. Sandretto requested approval of contract with M&M Formworks LLC for lifting and repairing of a repair portion of the 2021 sidewalk program. Contract is not to exceed $100,000. She said there was no bids on the replacement portion of the program. Mr. Smith asked if the service department could do the work. Mrs. Cabot said that they could not. She said that during the budget amendment process, another $100,000 will be added for sidewalks, and they're contacting the company that normally does the city's sidewalks to see why they did not submit a bid. The company agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the contract with M&M Formworks. Purchase of a bucket truck. Ms. Sandretto requested approval of legislation authorizing the purchase of a 2021 VersaLift aerial tree unit from utility truck equipment for $156,750 to the state cooperative purchasing program. She said that it was higher than 2 quotes reviewed by the Department of Service, but this unit can go 4 feet higher, and they feel this unit is significantly higher in quality workmanship and ease of use. There's also training available within the state of Ohio. The unit will be used for trimming trees and lighting work. Ms. Sandretto stated that there's money in last year's budget that will be carried over with the budget amendment. Mr. Coleman asked how much was budgeted for this item. Ms. Cabot said $190,000 was budgeted. Mr. Coleman said that he would like to see the budgeted amounts tighten up since it was way over the cost. Mr. Smith said that $30,000 could be used for a fenced-in dog park. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the purchase of the aerial tree truck unit. Ocean Road intersection, construction inspection, and construction administration. Ms. Sandretto requested approval of a contract not to exceed $43,876 with Manic Smith Group for construction inspection and construction administration for the Ocean Road State Route 25 intersection project. Mr. Smith asked about lighting in the area, and Ms. Cabot stated that there is not a lot of lighting between Rochton and 5 Point Road. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the contract for Manic. Senior Center enclosed patio. Ms. Sandretto requested approval of the bid from Midwest Contracting for the construction enclosed patio. for the senior center. The bid opening, which was held on December 31st, 2020. 8 bids were received with the lowest bid from Midwest Contracting in the amount of $129,900. Mr. Coleman asked that the budgeted amounts be included in the financial review portion of the legislation summary for all projects and purchases. Ms. Cabot stated that $130,000 was budgeted, and they will ask for an additional of $15,000 of budget amendment for contract contingency. The committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval of the legislation as emergency. State Route 25 intersection improvement projects. Ms. Sandretto stated the bid openings were held December 31st with 3 intersection improvement projects along 25. She asked for approval of legislation awarding a contract for all 3 projects. The first is for the improvement of State Route 25 or Rochester Road. Rochester Road will be widened to provide a westbound right turn lane at State Route 25 and second westbound lane outbound from 25. There will be traffic. There will also be drainage and traffic signalization work, signage and pavement marking. Gettis Paving and Excavating submitted a low bid of $405,727.36. The second project is State Route 25 and west-south boundary. Improvements include a northbound right turn lane on State Route 25, a second left turn lane on westbound west-south boundary, and a westbound right turn lane on west-south boundary. Drainage work, traffic signalization, work signage, and pavement markings. The low bid was submitted by Shelley Co. in the amount of $575,427.74. The third project is the intersection of State Route 25, Preston Parkway, and Fort Meigs Boulevard. The low bid is $265.03 was submitted by Vernon Lane. The project includes widening of 25 to provide left turn lanes and widening Preston Parkway and Fort Meigs Boulevard approaches. Installation of traffic signalization, signage, and pavement markings. Ms. Sandretto requested that all 3 resolutions be passed as emergency with 8% contingency for each contract. Mr. Coleman asked why 8%. Ms. Cabot stated that the design engineering firm made that recommendation. Mr. Smith asked about multi-use paths in the area of these intersection improvements. Ms. Cabot said that these projects are being done with grant funds and the grant focuses on roadway projects. Mr. Smith asked if council can add a multi-use path to the avoid another mobilization. Ms. Cabot said she would check with ODOT. If to add that, we would probably have to rebid these projects. She said that it could be done as a separate project. Mr. Coleman agreed about the importance of multi-use paths, and he said he would like to see us get in the habit, if there's enough room in the right-of-way, of doing a multi-use path. Ms. Matrey said she read an article about the money that the Metro Parks got brought to Lucas County, and she'd like to see some of those dollars come to Perrysburg. Ms. Matrey said she would also like to see a multi-use path named after former city councilman Gary Samples. The committee agreed 3-0, recommend approval of construction contracts with 8% contingency. Other business. There's a brief discussion regarding the driveway at the new Starbucks being built at La Junction Road at 25. Ms. Matrey said that she agrees with the drive being moved to the west, but she'd like to see it be a right and right only. She asked that the administration keep an eye on it. Mr. Smith asked about having our own traffic study done. Ms. Cabot said that Robert Foot reviewed the traffic study that was submitted and they concurred. There's a brief discussion regarding the sign in the right-of-way at Church Mills. Mr. Smith brought up the Adopt a Road program. Ms. Sandretto said that there's already a Adopt a Spot program and details on the city website. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 6:28 p.m. I have legislation to bring before this council.
There's a lot of reading.
There was. The first one I'd like to introduce is Resolution 9-2021, and move that the rule be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only and to dispense with the second, third reading.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Matroni?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolution number 9, 2021, a resolution awarding a bid and agreement with M&M Foamworks LLC not to exceed $100,000 for the lifting and repair portion of the 2021 sidewalk program.
I'd like to move that resolution 9-2021 be passed.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Where are we at on the sidewalk program? Where are we at with that?
Could you elaborate on your question,
Just
Councilman
curious
Park?
where we're at. Where are we at? What area are we at?
Currently, there is no specific area that we focus at. We have a list of priorities that as citizens call or as city employees call over to the engineering division, they keep a log, and then we tackle those that are the highest priority, more of a life safety issue for tripping, and then we tackle those first, and then we move on down the list to those that are of a lesser degree in need of replacement or lifting, as the case may be.
Isn't that something John did last summer?
Yes, John Eckel coordinated that with our current construction inspector, so the construction inspector will carry that project forward, hopefully along with a new city engineer. And then we're looking to change up the project a little bit differently and kind of divide the city maybe in quadrants to focus work in certain areas for mobilization purposes and decreasing those costs.
And I would just also add, given what happened last year, there were a lot more users of people out walking and using, and so we had a very high reporting of concerns with sidewalks. So we know that part of the administration's goal last year was to document those, and I know John spent a lot of time prioritizing the many reports addressing very needed repairs to a lot of sections, so.
That is correct, Mayor.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions yet about this one. Maybe Bridget can answer that. Well, first comment and a couple questions. Yeah, M&M is the only bidder on this, correct?
Correct.
And it's nice to see that it's a Perrysburg-based company. That's good. It says in this, it's not to exceed 100,000 on this resolution, but the contract says 24,000. Did I read that wrong? That the contract is.
It should be a not to exceed 100,000.
Okay, no, we don't have the contract in front of us.
Ms.
I read it,
Sandretto
it
was
was emailed.
looking for it.
It's in a pile.
It's in one of the stacks. If that is the case, that is actually incorrect. It should be a not to exceed 100,000.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's.
What is possible that happened is last year, Foamworks did have an agreement with us for approximately the dollar amount you just mentioned. And it's possible that they sent us an agreement without changing
There's a
the
typo
dollar
in the
amount.
contract, we will correct that before it be signed.
Yes.
Okay, that does say 24,000.
It does, it was probably,
Big difference there.
just missed.
The administration is requesting 100,000.
Okay,
The
all right.
contract is presented to you was inaccurate.
Okay, that's fine. And then on this project, is this like what they're using is like maybe 1 inch? When they go around, and is it 1 inch or more trip hazard? Is that what they use as a standard? If they're gonna lift these?
I do not know the exact specification that was derived by the then city engineer and Mr. Eckel. They came up with the standards, and I believe some of it is in our planning and zoning code. So I can take a look at that and send all of council an email on what the standards are for that trip hazard.
And so, and this contract is for, I think you said that the entire area that did, or the worst ones, they're just gonna
Yes,
go around and
yes.
determine the worst ones.
They actually lifted, I think, almost 1,000 slabs last year. So we are well on our way to doing several times that, hopefully next year as well, just depending on the degree of that leveling that needs to be done. But it is a very interesting process, seems to hold well, and the residents seem very happy with it.
He says it's 1 inch.
Mr. Walter says it is 1 inch.
Okay, that's what
I knew it was in our planning and zoning.
All right.
code.
Thank you. Thanks.
And it does save us a lot of money versus replacing them, correct?
Correct.
And there's only certain sidewalks that can be treated this way, correct?
Correct.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Matroni.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Resolution 10-2021 and move that the rules be suspended without its reading by number and title only to dispense with the second, third reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Matroni,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 10, 2021, a resolution authorizing a purchase agreement with Utility Truck Equipment Incorporated not to exceed $156,750 for the purchase of a 2021 Versalift V260 aerial tree unit for the Perrysburg Department of Public Service.
I move that Resolution 10-2021 be passed.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I just have
I had a question. Probably end up being for Richard. Do we have a lift truck now?
We have a lift truck that I think that's approximately 20 years old.
We're not replacing that though. I heard in the minutes this one will go 14 higher.
This one will be more of our all-purpose one, and if there are times where utilities needs a bucket truck and we're using our bucket truck for tree trimming, we'll have a spare on hand. Or in the event that this truck goes down for whatever reason and we have to ship it out for service, we'll still have a backup so we can continue our tree trimming and our traffic signal light replacements as needed. But this particular truck extends farther than the existing truck that we have, and this will essentially allow us to tackle any stoplight that we have, any light that we have that is one that the city has to maintain, whether it's in city right away or in a city park. It will be able to tackle the lighting at the ball diamonds. That's one of our highest points that we typically farm out to another entity to replace those bulbs. We'll be able to do that in-house, and it should allow us to tackle most tree trimming and removals with this unit.
And when that unit that's 20 years old, when that goes out, do you have any idea, is that going to be replaced as well? Or?
At this point, we're not looking to replace that. It's simply kind of a backup, just in case, and then we would probably look in the case that starts failing and causing us vehicle maintenance costs, we would probably just come back to this body and ask to sell that at auction.
All right, thank you.
And I just want to echo what I had said about this particular item and the amount that had been budgeted for it. And I don't see a repetitive nature where we're budgeting way more than we need, but I just want to kind of point out that we should be closer.
We'll certainly pass it along to that department. Again, the costing estimates came about in June of 2019 for 2020. And at that time, they were looking, I think, at a more robust unit.
Okay.
And they went with a lesser model based on not needing to reach as high as, say, a ladder truck for the fire division. So they did modify their specifications and went with a more cost-effective option that pretty much hit all the check boxes on their list without overexpending dollars.
Yeah,
But that is something as we go forward, we're going to try and get as close as we can to the mark.
perfect. I like the fact that we're under. I will say that, but I also
Better than the opposite.
yeah, I
I
like
think
the
also, given the addition to the time, there was a change in leadership.
Also a change in
the
leadership.
department, and there was some different approaches to what that they was
Okay.
needed, so.
All right.
I don't anticipate, your point is well taken, but I don't anticipate that being, Rob's pretty good about the budgeting component of the numbers.
Right, and I haven't noticed it across the board, so that's good.
No other further discussion, roll call?
Okay, Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Matroni.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Resolution 11-2021 and move the rules be suspended, allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second, third readings.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 11, 2021, authorizing award of the bid and agreement with Midwest Contracting Incorporated for the construction portion of the City of Perrysburg Senior Center project in an amount not to exceed $129,900 and declaring an emergency.
I move that resolution 11-2021 be passed
An emergency measure.
as an emergency.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have one thing I'd like to say. I think it's a real positive that we're doing something for the senior center and we're adding on. I think it's great.
Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce resolution 12-2021 and move that the rules be suspended, allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 12, 2021, authorizing an agreement with Manick and Smith Group for the construction, inspection, and construction administration for the Roachton Road and State Route 25 intersection project in an amount not to exceed $43,876.
I move that resolution 12-2021 be passed.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
All right, Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes. And Councilman Attorney, do you mind if we put 14 in front of 13 before we get to 13?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want 15,
Yeah, I can do 15.
14 and 15?
Should we do those together then? Or? I'm sorry?
You want 14 and 15 in front of 13, I believe.
Okay.
There's two.
Yeah, no, if we can move 14 in front of 13 and do 13 at the end.
Right.
yeah, 15
So we
as
have
well.
14.
Oh, 15. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a back page of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce resolution 14-2021 and move that the rules be suspended, allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 14, 2021, authorizing the award of the bid and agreement to the Shelley Company for the provision of construction services for the State Route 25 west-south boundary intersection improvement in an amount of $574,427.74 and declaring an emergency.
I move that resolution 14-2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
All right, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce resolution 15-2021 and move that the rules be suspended, allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 15, 2021, authorizing the award of the bid and agreement to Vernon Nagel Incorporated for the provision of construction services for the State Route 25 Preston Parkway, Fort Meigs Boulevard intersection improvement in an amount of $633,265.03 and declaring an emergency.
I move that resolution 15-2021 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Roll, I don't remember, forgot where we're at. Discussion, roll call.
All right, Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce resolution 13-2021 and move the rules and suspend to allow it for reading by name and number, by number and title only, and to dispense with the second, third readings.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Matroni,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution number 13, 2021, authorizing the award of the bid and agreement to Geddes Paving and Excavating Incorporated for the provision of construction services for the State Route 25 Roachton Road Intersection Improvement Project in an amount of $405,702.36 and declaring an emergency.
Do you want to move passage and then we'll have discussion?
I move that resolution 13-2021 be passed as emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion, I know we have an attorney for one of the contractors calling.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Jeff Kirscher. I'm the attorney for Expercon LLC, and it's undisputed that Expercon was the low bidder on this project. I want to first state that Expercon would like to develop a good working relationship with the city of Perrysburg, and Proudfoot Associates is very familiar with my client's work, very comfortable with them, and of course every municipality needs as many competitive bidders as they can get. Certainly helpful. However, this process in rejecting my client's offer really elevated form over substance. The undisputed facts are, like I said, that my client had the lowest bid. And did everyone receive the letter I sent today? Okay. I don't want to repeat that so much, but did everyone receive the letter from the law director this afternoon?
I sent that to you, I did not send that in response to that.
Oh, okay. Well, I can tell you that the law director sent me a letter then, and confirming that the only reason my client's quote was rejected was, or bid was rejected, was the oversight in not submitting the EEO certification. There was no substantial deviation, no material deviation from the bidding requirements. Everything was bid appropriate to the technical specifications. And like I said, my client is well known to Proudfoot and certainly has all of the financial and organizational wherewithal to perform this job. As the lowest bidder, they should have been awarded this and not have this rejected for a simple technicality. The statute, Revised Code Section 9.312, does not contemplate rejecting the lowest bid from a good contractor on a technicality. And I cite case law and the statute and the letter that I sent out. Ms. Sandretto, like I said, does not mention that there was any other reason for my client's bid to be rejected. She did talk about how the contract documents require compliance with federal and state laws, which would require my client to comply with the EEO certification requirements. So if my clients awarded the contract, they'd have to comply with that anyway. So that's not a material omission from their bid application. It was not a substantial deviation from the bid request. In fact, one of the cases I cite at the bottom of the first page of my letter, Smith and Johnson Construction, involved a case where the bidding contractor did not sign on the line that they were supposed to sign on. And that was challenged, and the court found that that was not material. That that complied with the material specifications of all material respects, because everything else was in the bid, and on the rationale that once the bid was awarded, they'd have to be bound by the contract anyway. And also they noted that that was notwithstanding the omission of an item called for in the specification. So this, like I said, is not a material thing that was omitted, and that I frankly don't see how this resolution could be passed without violating the statute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session, citing imminent litigation.
I would like to hear from Kate first.
Well, I think what we're going to respond to, I mean, there's been a motion to go into executive session because of threat of litigation, is that correct?
That's correct.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a bit of discussion. I would have to say, having read your email and also reading the
Well,
information.
the only issue before that is whether to go into executive session. That's the
Okay,
motion.
it's the discussion, that's what I was asking.
Okay, so the discussion is limited to the question whether we go into executive session.
We can go into executive session.
All right, well then that's, all right, so we'll vote on the issue of going into executive session.
Okay, Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to adjourn to executive session, and we will be back.
I'll make a motion, we return from executive session.
And second?
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
All right, we have a pending motion and a second, and then we're in discussion. Any discussion? Not roll call?
Okay, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
That is all I have for service. Next meeting is Wednesday, February 24th at 5:30 p.m.
I'll just note we're glad that Mr. Rowe was sworn in last. He wanted to jump right in because you had 5 resolutions and you had to accomplish a lot. All right, very good. Any other business come before the council?
Mr. Mayor, I see the firefighters are here. I didn't know if they had something they wanted to add to this evening. I don't know.
We're here to speak. We're here to witness.
Okay.
Well, you're welcome to be here.
I appreciate it.
No other business? I'm not being one to adjourn.
Jonathan Smith will make a motion to adjourn.
slow feedback.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no, motion's granted.